Do you have any other advice for people interested in renewable power?
A couple of things. If you're on the grid, stay on the grid. Don't necessarily take and try and do everything at once. Don't try and totally eliminate your bill at once, because so many people come and visit my house, or they'll come and visit my site, or they'll come and ask me a whole pile of questions about this stuff, and then they'll go out and get a price on what it takes for their current electric bill, and they'll say, gee, that's too expensive, and they won't do it. But I'll tell you exactly what happens once you start with even a little bit of renewable energy. You pay attention to how much energy you produced, and then you start saying to yourself, well, why should I pay for energy when if I just rearrange a few things, I can do the same work with the renewables and it doesn't cost me anything extra. And then you start to adjust your life to try and fit into the renewable energy that you have, and your energy consumption drops significantly. And I'll just give you a real quick example: coffee pots. Almost every home has a coffee pot in it. How many homes have coffee pots where the coffee goes directly into a thermos? I do. I've been doing it for like 12, 15 years. You really ought to do that. All these hot plates underneath these coffee pots, total waste of energy. If you were getting renewable, you would say, well, gosh, if I just put it in a thermos, I can run that coffee pot off the renewable energy system and not have a cost of keeping that pot warm, because it would go right into the thermos. And that's exactly the kind of thing you start approaching it. I still have all the coffee I want. It's just I use way less power doing it so I can fit it into my energy system.
Good. Anything else?
Wind
else come
energy
to mind?
In particular, issues involving wind energy. You're going to hear a lot of objections, and it's going to range anywhere from the sun hits the blades in the wind turbine and flashes into my bedroom window and gives me a headache. You're going to hear that one. You're going to hear the wind turbines vibrate the soil, and even though I live a mile away, I can feel the vibration at night when I'm trying to sleep, and it keeps me awake at night. You're going to hear it kills all the bats and birds in the area. You're going to hear it's lowered the value of the real estate value of my home. You're going to hear all these objections, but then if you go to actual sites, it won't be true, or at least I don't think it was going to be true. And I haven't had that experience where it has been true so far. You can even go to the Mackinac Island Bridge and drive right up to those turbines. Unlike a coal-fired power plant where you need permissions and you're going to have your car get spotted with coal dust and it's going to ruin the paint job, you can drive right up to those turbines over at the Mackinac Bridge, and on a very windy day, stand there and see how loud they really are. They're not that loud, right? Bird kills. Everyone's going to be concerned about bird kills, but they're not, and bats. Everyone's going to be concerned about bird kills and bats, but go to the turbines and talk to the people who either visit the turbines or have turbines and ask how many birds they've actually seen killed under the turbine, and it's going to be an extremely low number. I have a wind turbine on a 60-foot tower on my house. I have a bird feeder 60 feet away on the front porch, and it's been there for 10 years, and I do not know that I have killed a single bird yet in 10 years with that one turbine. And a bird feeder, as I say, is very close, right on the same house that the turbine is right next to. So I think a lot of this is exaggerated. I think people have a fear more than a reality, and these fears range, as I give you a full scale of things that are going to happen and people are going to be bringing up. Look at the data, and I think the data is going to verify the fact that most of these are not really reliable, credible concerns. So there's a much more justification for renewable energy. And I'll give you one more, just for the birds. They're concerned about killing maybe a few birds. How many birds do you kill with mountaintop removal in West Virginia? How much habitat is destroyed by blowing the top of a mountain off and dropping it into a valley that used to have water running through it and used to be clear, and then running a mining operation down there and stripping off the coal and putting that in train tracks and running the train tracks across country to get the coal to the coal-fired power plant so that you don't have to use renewable energy? How many birds are you going to kill there? And I think when you start doing the trade-off of not just the mining process itself, but also the mercury, the sulfur, and all these other issues that are coming from coal-fired power plants going into the atmosphere, how many birds are we killing there? I think the trade-off of a small number of birds on wind turbines, and it really is a small number of birds, keep your house cat in your house, and you will save far more birds than the wind turbines are going to kill.
You're reading my mind.
I'm telling you, I've
Well,
been through this.
I've got 2 cats, and one of them stays inside, so I'm doing 50-50 there.
Just
anyway.
watch them. They'll bring home way more birds than your wind turbine is going to bring home for you.
All right.
So I think it's very good. I think renewable is going to happen. There's going to be opposition, but it's going to happen, and so just get ready for it.
It's amazing how much it's grown just in the last 10 years, like
Yes,
we were talking
absolutely.
earlier.
Absolutely.
Okay, I've got one more question.
Yes.
And this is for, I'm asking this mostly for my professor, Jack Amar, because I've mentioned a couple of times to him what he thought about setting up a couple of, 2 meg machines on campus or behind the dome. What's your opinion on something like that?
I don't know why it hasn't already been done. You know, it's easy to talk about this stuff, and what I find with people a lot is that they'll come to visit me and they're really interested in renewable energy, but it's kind of like a magazine article, you know. Oh look, here's wow, National Geographic's got something on renewable energy. And then they turn the page, ooh, here's one on snow leopards. And they've already forgotten what they did about renewable energy. I think you really need to make this real. People have to see it. It has become something that they can relate to specifically. We can answer those questions about noise, power generation, whether or not it actually works here, what happens in the wintertime, what are the birds going to do. But you can answer all those questions by having a real demonstration site here. And
so if we
need to do it.
So if we get the wheels moving up here, you might be interested in giving a little advice.
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, even if you can't get anything in megawatt, even if you did 10 kilowatts, something useful, something that you can power something with, and say a 10 kilowatt turbine will power easily a small building, and you can go in there and say this is a wind powered building, and why shouldn't we have something like that? You know, this way we can compare the contrast, how much power is coming in, how much power is going out, how do you live in a system like this, how do we adapt, what's the advantages, disadvantages. That's got to be real. I mean, you can read numbers all day long, but you really need to see it.
All right. I want to say thanks a lot, Steve.
You're very welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
May the wind blow.